The Honda CR450R has consistently been a frontrunner in our 450 MX shootout since its radical redesign in 2017. It nearly won in 2017, but finished in the runner-up spot due to a soft fork and shock. Honda made some calculated changes to the bike last year that paid off as the CR450R emerged as the 2018 450 MX shootout winner. This year, it returns with even more updates, including several changes to the engine, suspension, and chassis. The CR450R is remarkably improved for 2019 and is the best CR450R we've ridden yet, but another bike in the class has been significantly updated and was able to edge the Honda out for the top spot. Regardless, the 2019 Honda is an excellent bike that can be raced by most people in stock trim. It's an aggressive racing motorcycle right out of the crate. For these reasons, it finished at or near the top of each of our test riders' personal rankings. For 2019, the CR450R's Unicam power plant received a new cylinder head, revised clutch lifter and pressure plates, an updated scavenge pump design, a new piston oil jet, HRC launch control, and updated engine mode select options. It also has a new shift sensor, a different exhaust with a larger pipe diameter, and revised design at the branching location. The kickstarter assembly has also been removed from the side case of the engine. The CR450R makes the most horsepower and torque on the dyno of all 6 450 motocross bikes in this shootout. We mounted a Dunlop D404 street tire on the rear wheel and ran it on our in-house dyno. The Honda cranked out 53.75 horsepower at 9,760 RPM and 33.24 pound-feet of torque at 7,390 RPM. After the dyno pulls were complete, we fitted Dunlop MX33 soft to intermediate terrain tires, as we did with all the other bikes in the shootout to ensure consistency and traction among them for the entirety of the test. On the track, the Honda engine is aggressive and exciting. It has the lightest feeling engine character, almost two-stroke-like in how quickly it revs, and that contributes to a very fun and playful character. It has very little engine braking and a smoother bottom end to mid-range transition than the 2017 and 2018 models, making it easier and more manageable to ride. It works best when ridden in the higher RPM, as the top end and over rev allow the bike to carry a gear for a long time before needing to upshift. The CR450R comes with a handlebar-mounted engine mode select button that has 3 pre-programmed maps: Map 1, Standard, Map 2, Smooth, and Map 3, Aggressive. Map 1 has a good hit and a hook in the power band, whereas Map 2 smooths out that hit and doesn't rev as quickly, making it ideal for when the track dries out and traction is at a minimum. Map 3 has more bottom end, which makes the engine easier to lug. The cable actuated clutch works well, and the CR450R shifts the smoothest of all 6 bikes. It's also the loudest in this test due to the short dual mufflers and large airbox openings. It's a small price to pay for all that power. In the suspension department, Honda has continually updated the CR450R since 2017 in an effort to match the chassis. This year, both the Showa 49mm coil spring fork and Showa shock received updated settings, and the fork gets new, lower friction oil. In comparison to last year's bike, the fork is plusher in the initial part of the stroke, which helps the 2019 machine absorb braking bumps better, especially at lower speeds. As it travels farther down the stroke, the stiffness ramps up quickly, which gives it more of a performance feel. The harder you push the suspension, the better it works. Similar to the fork, the Showa shock is plusher in the top of the stroke, but quickly ramps up in firmness and has excellent bottoming resistance. The CR450R has a noticeable high rear end stance in stock form, which we combated with more shock sag, preferably 108 or 109mm, to balance out the bike. Moving on to the handling, the CR450R chassis has been significantly changed for 2019. The lower frame spars have been updated, the swing arm is new, and the top triple clamp now has 2 clamp locations that allow the new black Renthal fat bar handlebar to be adjusted by 26mm. The front brake caliper is lighter and uses a pair of 30mm and 27mm pistons. The foot pegs have a different shape and are 20% lighter, the fork guards are new, and the bike now comes with black rims. The CR450R weighs in at 250 pounds on our automotive scales, making it and the Suzuki RMZ 450 the 2 heaviest bikes in the class. However, the Honda is the lightest feeling, quickest turning, and nimblest bike in the shootout. It excels at technical courses filled with turns as it corners on a dime. The chassis is very sensitive to changes, and a 1mm difference in fork height or sag is very noticeable. It's also a bit on the rigid side and is the most sensitive to rider input, but both of those qualities come at the cost of stability. we experienced some head shake, especially when the track got rough. The updated frame and new swing arm help improve on the already abundant amount of rear wheel traction the bike has, but the front end can be vague at times. In the past 2 years, the Honda has performed incredibly well when the track is smooth and the dirt is good, but the chassis could be a bit of a handful when the track got rough and dried out. The 2019 model performs better in rougher conditions than it ever has before. The reasons why it should have won are that it has an engine that makes the most horsepower and torque, suspension that rewards aggressive riding, a razor-sharp chassis, and ergonomics that are very agreeable and comfortable. The reasons why it didn't win are that it can be difficult to ride when the track becomes rough due to its rigid chassis and instantaneous throttle response. It is also occasionally unsettled and unpredictable in rough terrain.